Hey, it's Dr. Katrin Bone. Today I'm asking the question, who do you work for? As a parent, that's actually a very hard question to ask, but super important. So if you've ever been in a household where the toddler is the boss, you know what a problem this is. So the question is, who do you work for as a parent? The important reason is that to look at this question is, where do you get your feedback? So as somebody who works in a job, you get you work for a company, you have a boss, you have managers, you have clients, you get feedback from all of those different people. And that feedback you take and use and learn from to become a better employee or whatever you do at your job. So the job of being a parent, very difficult, because the question is, who do you work for? Do you work for yourself and your ego and your identity? Definitely a lot of times I felt like that was true for me when my kids were little. Do you work for your toddler? Do you work for your adolescent? And sometimes it felt like I did those too. And at those times, you get, your feedback is their happiness or their anger or their frustration. And that gave you feedback at, man, I must not be doing my job right and I need to do something different. Or sometimes your child gets so angry and they yell at you, you are the worst parent ever. And, is that where you get your feedback from and make changes based on those things? So think about who you work for. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your relatives, maybe it's friends or social media. Whenever you think about who you're pleasing when you are taking that feedback and making changes based on that, that's who you're working for. So I think a better person to work for as a parent is actually your child, and as a future adult, somewhere about 30 years old. That person is the final, not the final product, but the person you are helping nurture along the way and guide to become that person. From there, they're going to have to take it all on their own. But that person, you wish you could have feedback from them, but unfortunately you won't get that for a long time. So that is the difficulty of parenting. But just knowing who you work for, you now can kind of guess what would be in the best interest of that 30-year-old adult. I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by this. So things and skills that would be good to learn in childhood for a 30-year-old adult would be things like respecting other people and then respecting yourself, being able to stand up for yourself and others who are being treated unfairly. It would be great to know how to problem solve, especially with people who don't think the same way as you do. It would be great to learn how to cook, clean up after yourself, take care of your home, pay your bills, listen to other people, understand their feelings, and take those into account. It would be helpful to understand your own emotions and feelings and be able to manage them effectively and use them to make changes in your own life. It would be great to know how to be kind to people and to love people. So those are all skills and things that we as parents could help our children learn and would be in the best interest of our 30-year-old adult child in the future. So let's put this into practice. A common problem I get from my patients are, and my own children, 6-year-old, favorite toy broken by their 2-year-old little brother. And this child is now so angry, they push their 2-year-old brother down, they're crying, and they take the 2-year-old brother's toy and break their toy. So as a parent, our first response and the feedback we're getting, if we actually worked for all of these other people, would be that this shouldn't be happening if I was a good parent. My children should be able to get along and share. My siblings should be nice to each other. Look on Facebook, they're holding each other so cute in that picture. So I would maybe respond by yelling at them, forcing my 6-year-old to share with them, putting them in a timeout, and being very angry and frustrated because of the feedback I was getting at that moment. But if we flash forward to a child, grown up, now a 30-year-old man or woman, neighbor, goes into their garage and borrows their lawnmower, breaks it, and doesn't return it. As the 30-year-old, what would be really good skills to have learned as a child when faced with a similar situation? So as a 30-year-old, it would be really good if you didn't let your anger get the best of you in that moment, and you didn't go over to your neighbor and punch them in the face or key their car. Those would be good things not to do. And the next thing would be able to stand up and explain your feelings and emotions and all of this without triggering the other person, and being able to communicate well with that person. Call your neighbor. Hey neighbor, I'm really angry when people take my things without my permission and break them and don't return them. And your neighbor would probably respond, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I didn't think you'd mind. I borrowed it last week and my lawnmower is still not fixed. And I went out and I ran over some metal and I was getting ready to try to fix it, and then I cut my hand, so I had to go to the emergency room and get some stitches, and then I totally forgot to tell you or to return it. I am so sorry. And you might say, problem solve with them and say, I really don't mind if you use it. I'm happy to share. You are my friend, and I understand yours is broken. And I really need you to tell me before and ask me before you're going to use it, and then return it promptly. If you break it, you got to fix it, or you need to pay for a new one and get me a new one. And that would be great problem solving skills. So let's flash back to the 6-year-old. How can you now approach this completely different? So if the person you actually work for is that 30-year-old, you're going to look at this as, hey, this is a great opportunity. This is not a problem. This is a opportunity to learn some great life skills. Now, no great learning can be done when your child's in the middle of a temper tantrum or a meltdown or any of those things. So that is not the appropriate time. What I want you to do is wait for the moment that your 2-year-old is napping, and then you can, and after your 6-year-old has calmed down, and then say, hey, Johnny, I need to talk to you about what happened earlier today. It seemed like you were very angry. Can you tell me about it? Yeah, Mom, I was so angry. It's my favorite toy, and I just knew that he would break it. But I brought it out anyways, and then I left it, and he broke it, and I just was so mad. I couldn't help it. I was so angry. It's not fair. Your response to this, knowing that that is actually very true, and say, hey, I completely understand that you were angry. I can understand why you'd be angry. It's unfair when people take your stuff and they break it and they don't treat it nicely. And I think that there probably would have been better ways to deal with your anger. My concerns in this is that when you were angry, you hurt and pushed your brother, and then even though your toy was broken, not purposefully, you purposely broke your brother's toy in retaliation. And I think there would be better ways to solve this situation. Now comes problem solving. So you've identified your child's concern and your concern, and now is it in your best, in the 30-year-old's best interest to fix this problem for your child? I don't think so. Force your child to share with your brother all of their toys? I don't think so. Is it in your best interest to tell your child that they shouldn't be angry? I don't think so. In the best interest of your future adult child, it would be best to help them learn to problem solve in situations like this. So, once you've identified your child's concerns, now you have your concern, now is the problem solving stage. And you can ask your child, would you have a better way that maybe the toys, your special toys, wouldn't get broken in the first place? And your child may or may not come up with good solutions. And that would be the time for you to suggest solutions, because you've lived longer and have problem solved and learned these things in your lifetime. So you can suggest things like, hey, how about if you put your toys, your favorite ones, up in the closet and only bring them down when I'm available to supervise your 2-year-old brother, so it will decrease the risk of that toy being broken. And then maybe there are other toys that you aren't so attached to, that maybe your old toys you could share with your brother at other times. And your child probably would agree to something like that, or maybe tweak it a little bit, and you can come up with a mutually agreed upon solution that benefits everybody and hits everybody's concerns. So there you have a true life situation that you were able to problem solve better if you think about the person you work for is not your current child, but your child in the future as a grown adult, and helping them learn those problem skills, those skills of problem solving, standing up for themselves, understanding their emotions. So have a great day. And as always, you can always learn to be a better parent. If you like this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And as always, put comments in my comment section, and I will try to make videos based on some of those questions or comments. Thanks so much.